Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft are all moving ahead at a great speed in improving this artificial intelligence software. So it's very exciting. Software is going to solve that, where it'll look at all the new information and present to you, knowing about your interests, what would be most valuable. So making us more efficient.
We're focusing on what we've talked about on autonomous systems. And we sort of see it as the mother of all AI projects. So autonomy is something that's incredibly exciting for us. We'll see where it takes us.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if someday we got to the point where there were robots every place, they were running farms, they were running Apple, they were running Berkshire Hathaway, and all you had to do was one person could punch a button at the start of every morning, and all the goods and services that we're getting now would be turned out by robots.
It is seeping into our lives in all sorts of ways that we just don't notice. We're just getting better and better at it, and we're seeing that happen in every aspect of our lives, from medicine to transportation to how electricity is distributed. And it promises to create a vastly more productive and efficient economy. And if properly harnessed, can generate enormous prosperity for people, opportunity for people, can cure diseases that we haven't seen before, can make us safer because it eliminates inherent human error in a lot of work.
Artificial intelligence is going to be extremely helpful, and the risk that it gets super smart, that's way out in the future and probably worth talking about. But now what we're seeing is that for the first time, computers can see as well as humans. That's pretty incredible.
NHTSA did a study on Tesla's Autopilot version 1, which is relatively primitive, and found that it was a 45% reduction in highway accidents. And that's despite Autopilot 1 being just version 1. Version 2, I think, will be at least 2 or 3 times better. That's the current version that's running right now. So the rate of improvement is really dramatic. We have to figure out some way to ensure that the advent of digital superintelligence is one which is symbiotic with humanity.
AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. Now, I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. And anytime you work with technology, you need to learn to harness the benefits and while minimizing the downsides. Stepping back, when you think about a lot of problems in the world today, it's because we typically have a constraint on resources. AI, for the first time, I think over time, offers a different construct. Things which are constrained and look like a zero-sum game today may not be so in the future. Take education, for example. It's really difficult to educate people in a cost-effective way. AI may fundamentally change that equation. It may make it possible for us to have clean, cheap, renewable energy for the future. So I think a lot of things will play out in more positive ways than people think.
I think probably by end of next year, self-driving will encompass essentially all modes of driving and be at least 100 to 200% safer than a person by the end of next year. We're talking maybe 18 months from now.
The idea that there's going to be a general AI overlord that subjugates us or kills us all, I think is not something to worry about. I think that is overhyped. First of all, we don't know, we're nowhere close to knowing how to build a general AI, something that could set its own objectives. But second of all, I think it's unlikely that such a thing's first instincts would be to exterminate us. So I'm optimistic about that one, and certainly don't think we need to worry about it today.
So what's interesting to me is we will use AI, as we have been, to specifically target tasks that we need or want done in place of ourselves. That's how AI will ultimately unfold.
I think AI is going to open a new chapter of the society, of the world, that people try to understand ourselves better rather than the outside world.
It is a renaissance. It is a golden age. We are now solving problems with machine learning and artificial intelligence that were, kind of in the realm of science fiction for the last several decades.
AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. And anytime you work with technology, you need to learn to harness the benefits and while minimizing the downsides.
Is we're focusing on autonomous systems. And clearly one purpose of autonomous systems is self-driving cars. There are others. And we sort of see it as the mother of all AI projects.
AI is already helping us basically diagnose diseases better, match up drugs with people depending on what they're sick, so that way they can get treated better. So it's going to help a whole lot of people get treated and get better health care than would have had access to it before. If you look at self-driving cars, they're going to be safer than people driving cars.
So there's a class of things like game playing or speech recognition or image recognition that the performance levels are phenomenal. If you compare human speech recognition to computer speech recognition, the computer is slightly better. And that's, mind-blowing.
I have exposure to the very most cutting-edge AI. And I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see robots going down the street killing people, they don't know how to react, because it seems so ethereal. And I think we should be really concerned about AI, and I think we should. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive. Because I think by the time we are reactive in AI regulation, it's too late.
Imagine a world in which everything is now connected. So not just you and your smartphone, I'm talking about trucks connected to pallets, connected to packaging, connected to products, connected to these drones that are now going to be delivering things from the sky. Now don't panic. This isn't real. It's just CGI. Amazon are not delivering by drone. That starts next month, apparently. So you've got some time. So if you look at it, right, so these retailers are investing massive amounts of money in building these smart warehouses now. Now, is all of this technology just about giving you things faster than before? Well, the question we need to ask ourselves, whether it's in any field of endeavor, is what is now possible that wasn't possible before? Why are Amazon and Ocado and Alibaba doing all of this? You see, I think what they're trying to do is to anticipate your needs before you've had to ask. Take Amazon. Have any of you ever ordered something and been shocked that it was in stock and on Amazon Prime? I used to think there was this Indiana Jones warehouse somewhere with everything ever made by human beings waiting to be shipped out, right? So, you had peanut butter next to lithium batteries, next to the Ark of the Covenant, right? One only. And I discovered I was actually completely wrong. I came to Seattle to do a session for Amazon once, and I was shocked to discover that in many cases, the item that you order is not in stock until a few days before you order it. You see, an algorithm predicts that you are going to order that item. So they preemptively send it to a fulfillment center near where they think you're going to be. So in order for it to arrive to you on time, it's had to enter the supply chain before you knew you wanted it. Now think about that. At what point does Amazon just start sending you packages before you order them? I know it's weird, right? They've got a patent on it. They call it anticipatory shipping. I call it freaky as hell shipping. Because can you imagine, you're going to be home one day and I don't know, you're kind of working, shopping, and you're about to order something and you're just about to click buy now, but you never get there because suddenly you're distracted by this whirring noise outside your house. You're like, what the hell is that? And then you see this, black and yellow drone descending from the sky and this drops this package at your feet. And you go, that's weird, I didn't order anything. So you go to open it up. And you look inside and you immediately drop it to the ground because there inside was the very thing you were just looking at a second ago. How did they know? Alexa. You'd be like a crazy person, like, running around the house unplugging all your smart speakers, I know, some of you are just going to send it back to show Jeff Bezos who's boss. Yeah? And then a few days later you have to order it again because they were right. You needed that stuff. I mean, your kids are going to be looking at you like you're insane. But this is the point. In this new algorithmic age, the game is, how do you use data to understand people's behavior, to anticipate their needs before they've had to even ask? And this is starting to happen in places like China. I mean, they're so far ahead. They've got fully automated convenience stores like 7-Elevens on steroids. They use facial recognition and algorithms to restock themselves and merchandise. I mean, they've got robot hotels and robot restaurants and even smart home collection devices that expand when you have deliveries. Even the beggars in the street don't want coins anymore. They've got QR codes. They want you to donate straight to their smartphones. Cash is so 2017 in China. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that you can see we're already at the beginnings of a fundamental transition to a different kind of world with a different way of living. And that's going to change not just our interactions, but the way we interface with technology.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, has proven to be one of today's most transformative tech evolutions. However, with the current world scenario, artificial intelligence seems more promising than ever. Trends in the AI technologies such as alter ego, a mind-reading wearable, and citizen robots like Sophia are indicators of how huge AI will become in the coming years. Drones and robot delivery are already being tested by companies like Domino's and DoorDash. Despite the fact that these latest emerging technologies are still riddled with flaws that pose a threat to human safety, AI supplements are certain to become a technological trend in the future, giving their immense potential. Needless to say, companies like Nvidia, Google, Microsoft, and every other company is adopting artificial intelligence in some way or the other.